Gentlemen, if we could have your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention. For those of you that are at the background, we appeal to you to please resume your seats as we are to begin with the formalities. And it has been said by great philosophers that no function can be a success without formalities, whether it's from the time that we are born or whether it's from the time that we die. So if those at the back and the bars could just close for a couple of minutes whilst our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Sergey, who needs no introduction whatsoever, all the way from Sevcom, the man who will get you connected in life, will now officiate this function. Ladies and gentlemen, my privilege and honor in having to hand over to you, to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Sergey himself. Let's give him a nice big welcome.
I assure you that the formalities will not be a lengthy affair, as we have kept you already for quite some time this evening. We would like you, however, to have much fun with us and to join us in celebrating the launch of Phoenix Galvanizing.
Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Naha Prachodaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Supreme and Most Merciful Lord, grant us wisdom and understanding for the promotion of mutual love and affection. May harmony prevail among all members present here today. May we, the management and staff of Phoenix Galvanizing, work together with joint effort to achieve success in our undertakings with your help. May we have good understanding with our business associates, friends, family members, and members of the community. May our intellect lead us along the path of righteousness and generate the attitude of truth, service, and cooperation in us. O God, may thou inspire and guide us in the right direction. Amen.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Indian businesses have always been confined to being operated as family-run corner stores, supermarkets, and textile factories. An alarming few have ventured out to be leading players in big business in major industries. It takes a special breed of people that can see an opportunity and seize it. Such entrepreneurs are a rare entity in our community. In setting up and commissioning a multi-million rand plant before us, and in taking on well-established competitors in an industry dominated by whites, few can argue that Phoenix Galvanizing will make its presence felt in this industry. It not only boasts a fully automated plant, but also a 14-meter galvanizing tank that is by far the biggest in the country. Two young up-and-coming mavericks with a wealth of experience in the metal industry are about to turn the galvanizing industry on its head. They will no doubt change the lives of the entire Ramkissoon family for now and for the future. The motivation, commitment, and the passion that they have will no doubt ensure that Phoenix Galvanizing will be a market leader in its field. Ladies and gentlemen, it is against this backdrop that I call upon a dear friend, a very young, humble individual, to officially welcome you to the launch of Phoenix Galvanizing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roy Ramkissoon.
Mr. MC, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a deep sense of pride and pleasure that I welcome all of you to the official opening of Phoenix Galvanizing. Amongst the cross-section of our guests present tonight includes clients, suppliers of various related products, merchants, contractors, engineers, architects, businessmen, friends, and family. Some of you have traveled as far as from Pietermaritzburg, Port Shepstone, Margate, and Richards Bay. We are highly appreciative of the sacrifice that you have made to be with Annie and myself this evening. At the same time, I wish to extend a very special word of welcome to Mr. Terry Smith. Terry Smith is from Gauteng and from the Galvanizing Association of South Africa. He, together with his CEO, Mr. Walter Barnett, has been very helpful in the setting of the plant, and we enjoy an excellent relationship with the association. Terry will address us a little later. As you have noticed, our bar facilities are available to all of you, while some might like it hotter than others. Dinner will be served immediately after the formalities. It is our fervent prayer that all of you partake of the meal that has been specially prepared for you. Live music will keep you entertained. Should there be anything further that we can do to make you feel more comfortable, all you have to do is ask. Do enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Roy Ramkissoon, the director of Phoenix Galvanizing. Having had the opportunity of inspecting the plant earlier this week, I am confident that the quality of work produced here at Phoenix Galvanizing far exceeds the specifications set down by the South African Bureau of Standards. Roy and Annie have also worked closely with the Galvanizing Association of South Africa, and we are pleased and privileged to have with us from Gauteng, Mr. Terry Smith, to address you. Please let's give Terry a warm KwaZulu-Natal welcome.
Sharks. Sorry, Terry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I came down with my two boys today because my wife's over in Australia. And they're probably sorting out the zinc tank at the back there. I know that there's a couple of pieces of steel that need to be galvanized, so I told my 3.5-year-old just to operate the crane, and he's probably doing that now. It gives me tremendous pleasure on behalf of the Hot Dip Galvanizers Association of Southern Africa to welcome both Annie and Roy of Phoenix Galvanizers as our latest full member of our association. Walter Barnett and myself, Walter has been in the industry for probably about 35 years. He's been running the Galvanizers Association for the last 15 years as in its present form. I joined him about 10 months ago. Walter and I were down here on business probably about four months ago, and Annie called us and he said, why don't you come round to our house as our guest, Annie and Roy. And we went round there and we had a tremendous evening. The hospitality was out of this world. The food was fantastic. Everything was laid on and we were really treated. We were probably part of the family by the time we left that evening. And I believe that should the staff of Phoenix Galvanizers do something similar to that, because although we're in the galvanizing industry here, it's a very service-orientated industry. And I believe from the Indian background, they've always serviced their customers very well. I believe that if they do that same type of thing and make their customers and the relationship that they build up with their customers are similar to what we experienced that night, I believe that they'll have a successful business here. Great service. That reminds me of a story. This little Indian boy was working for his father in his greengrocer shop many years, and he was quite an astute little businessman. One day, all the fruit obviously was displayed in the shop, and he had some great big watermelons on the one side there. And this big Free State Dutchman walks in, and he says to the little boy, I want half a watermelon. And the little boy says, I'm sorry, I only serve a full watermelon. We only give you full watermelons here, we don't cut our watermelons. The big guy says, listen, I want half a watermelon. The little boy says, well, my dad told me you can only have a full watermelon. The guy insists, so the little guy says, okay, well, just hold it. I'm just going to go and ask my father. Walks to the back, and the father's obviously counting the bucks there or sorting out the shop. And he says to him, Dad, there's a big Free State Dutchman out here, and he wants half a watermelon. And he hears a noise behind him, he looks behind him, he sees the guy standing right behind him. And he says, and this fine gentleman over here wants the other half. That came from Walter. Okay, we believe that Phoenix Galvanizing, sorry, I apologize for that. We have another galvanizing in Gauteng, which is Phoenix, Galva Phoenix. I believe that with the expertise that we have at our disposal at the association, if we work together with Phoenix Galvanizing down in Natal, I certainly believe that we can grow the industry in Natal substantially in galvanizing. In Cape Town, the industry has moved up in the last year by about 30%. There's been about a 30% growth in the industry. In Johannesburg, there's probably about 7 galvanizers, and everyone is very, very busy. The turnaround time is generally between 10 and 20 days. So I believe that the galvanizing industry is very, very healthy and it's on the up move. Lastly, I'd like to just apologize on behalf of my colleague, Walter Barnett, for not making it here tonight. He would love to have been here. The gentleman is about 64, 65 years old. He's very tired and he's been told to sort of take it a bit easier. So I've come down in his place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry, and once again, thanks for making the trip down here. I am now going to call upon the other Ramkissoon brother, who spent the last 6 months toiling effortlessly in trying to set up this massive plant. Ladies and gentlemen, to address you and to also move a vote of thanks, I call upon the Managing Director of Phoenix Galvanizing, Mr. Annie Ramkissoon.
Mr. MC, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Not as eloquent as our MC, but we'll try. On behalf of my brother, my fellow shareholders, I would once again like to welcome you all to our evening's function. From what I see, you're enjoying yourself, and it's our hope that you continue enjoying yourselves. Try not to read, we'll do it as a speech. I'm sure that many of you are curious as to why galvanizing, like Segi mentioned earlier, we try not to say Indians and whites, but Segi mentioned Indian galvanizers, and curiosity has been around for quite a while, and people ask us, Annie, but you know, steel fabrication, Flamcon, or whatever else prior to that, but why galvanizing? Now, Roy and I have been in the steel industry for many years, and it's inevitable that our products were being galvanized, and we had 2 galvanizers at our disposal. And when we looked at it and we had to answer to clients, the gate is delayed because of galvanizing. Half the time is an excuse because it probably wasn't ready. But we did realize that galvanizing was a drawback. And we had 2 major role players with slightly different attitudes, not the kind of attitudes people that you like to deal with. And then we realized we must think seriously about it, and we started putting some figures together, and then we said, no, we must look at it very seriously. The turnaround time for galvanizing was any time between 5 days to 3 weeks at times. And that's where we saw a niche in the marketplace and said we must go for it. And then that's basically how Phoenix Galvanizing was thought about and came about to its present level. It's now that we're in the play, as it were, and we've seen production go through our doors for 2 weeks, we realize that the backlog has cut down tremendously, which is very good for the industry. People do not have to say galvanizing is the problem, because that was the excuse. I mean, everybody knows that was the excuse. So now that we're in the play, we found a few things, that there is no serious backlog. We probably got 2 days at the most that we turn around. Our competitors, on the other hand, haven't taken very well to us being there. Not that I blame them. For the first time in the Natal market, there has been serious competition in that particular field. And now we notice there's a price drop, which is good for the clients, good for industry generally, not good for our pockets. But be that as it may, that is the situation right now. Galvanizing quality is coming right. The quality was not of the best previously. Now that we are here and everybody is going for the SABS mark, the quality is coming through, the prices are dropping, and it's good for the industry. And we supposed to have a gentleman from SABS this evening with us. Through some red tape, he couldn't make it. We are going for the SABS mark, not in the distant future, but in the immediate future. The setup here allows us to have SABS, SABS being the standard is 763 that's required immediately. From what we got going over here, it shouldn't be too much in the distant future. We should have our mark, and then that'll be reason to celebrate also. I forgot what I was supposed to say next. Segi's already mentioned that this is the largest tank in the country. Terry, is that correct? 14 meters being the largest, 13.5 at Monoweld? 13. Oh, there's 3 now. Cape Galvanizing tank is in? It has. All right. Now that with the 14-meter tank, we've got people thinking 14 meter. Now, 14 meter in the industry means a lot to people. Why 14 meter? Why not a smaller tank? Why not a bigger tank? Again, being in the steel industry, we realize that Natal does not have any tank. When I say tank, when you have time to walk around there, you'll find there's a big tank there with lots of liquid in there. Don't put your hands in there, it'll disappear. It's zinc melted at 455 degrees. 14 meter because also of competition, the existing 2 galvanizers are 9 meter. Now if you want to do better, you've got to go better and bigger, and that's the route we decided to go upon. We went with the 14 meter. It certainly is working out well, and again, it's very good for the industry because you don't have to do what's called double dipping, and you're not restricted to your manufacturing. Big structures can now be galvanized at one go, which was not possible previously. Some of the bigger stuff was either, excuse me, the cough didn't come, okay. Some of the bigger stuff was either galvanized in Johannesburg, or Gauteng as Segi says it, or it was double dipped galvanized, or it was just cut in half, galvanized and put together. So now that we're here, I think, again, it's very good for the industry having the biggest tank. I had things here which Segi has said, and Segi's put it so nicely that I really don't want to say anymore. Look, Phoenix Galvanizing is okay, the first galvanizing plant by people of color, which is good from a historical side. It's good for the business, and Terry was saying that as Indians we have a tendency to really give good service, and in order to be on top, you got to give service and you got to have quality, and from what we have so far, we're certainly heading that way, and many of our clients here will attest to that. Putting up this building and plant has been both a pleasure and whatever else goes with it. It's been one of the most interesting periods in our lives. I've had some real good days over here, been through weather, getting this up, and it's been really good. The only sad part, if I may say, or hang on, it was for the experience, was that we went through a lot of red tape and bureaucracy. It's not for me to stand here and tell you what kind of red tape we've been through in getting this up. The only excuse that I can offer to you now is, why should you have red tape? It comes down to being what we are, being the first galvanizer of our color. But at the end of it, it worked out very well. We had some lovely experiences with people in different offices, in different categories, health departments and inspectors and a lot of things like that. But it was an interesting experience, for which I'm very glad now. You're wiser for the experience at the end of the day. We are presently rather aggressively marketing ourselves. When Terry and Walter comes out the next time, we're looking at promoting galvanizing, which is something that hasn't been going around in Durban and Natal. We've got strategies to promote galvanizing where people will be made aware that it's probably cheaper to paint. It's cheaper to galvanize than to paint. Sorry, Terry. And with the existing galvanizers again, which I'm using as a comparison, there's nothing else to compare with. There has been no marketing, there's been no promotion of galvanizing. And in order to increase the market share, we have a few things up our sleeves. One is to go on a marketing campaign, and the second is to bring in work from Gauteng. Like Terry mentioned, Roy and our rep, Ray Sudas, was up in Johannesburg last week. While Terry was nice about saying the backlog is sometimes even longer than that. And the work in Gauteng is really at a massive backlog. And we are at the present moment negotiating to get work down here to improve the Natal market from a galvanizing point of view. So we want to do, wonders for the industry, which will take us some time, but we're going to get there. That is as far as my speech goes. It's now my pleasant task to do a bit of thank you. When we thank very sincerely. We'd like to thank so many people. But first and foremost, I must say thank you to all the contractors, the subcontractors, the friends that we've acquired along the route that has helped put up the project. I did not see Colin and Jerome here, our main builders. I don't know if they're there yet. I don't know if Des is here. No, he's not. And that calls for trouble with Des. But we've had so many friends here that's been very helpful, really backed us up, gave us encouragement along the way that it would be impossible to name names as far as the project is concerned. The building was fine, and then once we got the building going, it was now time for the actual equipment and the machinery and a bit of knowledge. And I take this opportunity to ask Roy, it's Ramadou. Ramadou, if you could just come here for a minute, please. Roy Ramadou has got many years of galvanizing experience, and he's joined us. He's taken his risks, as it were, and he came along, and he's been a friend. He's an employee, but he certainly is a great friend of ours. And Roy, I promised Roy not to ask him to say anything. He smiles, he's so handsome, really. I mean, I get jealous. All right. Roy has been very, very instrumental in our setting up a plant. Initially, when I put the idea through to him while he was with the competition, a question that I ask him often, Roy, how many people do you have that came to you when you're working at a galvanizer and says, I want to set up a galvanizing plant? He says, many. And when they hear the figures, it gets fewer and fewer. And Terry would also say that Walter and Terry get many calls about setting up a galvanizing plant. And there again, when they hear the figures, they say bye-bye. But Roy was one that persevered, and he trusted, and he believed in us. And whilst he was working, he used to come late in the evening at Flamcon, sit for hours, we'd do our planning. He took his chances. He resigned prematurely from his last place of work, and he's been working here. Really, I mean, there's not sufficient words to express our appreciation to Roy for giving off his 110%. He's been really giving it his best, and he's really made this plant work with us. And this is the opportunity to introduce you to him. People, when they phone at Phoenix Galvanizing, no matter how many lines Roy is on, they hold on for Roy because they know Roy, and they know Roy can provide that service. And I'd like to thank you very much for everything. I did mention that it's going to be impossible to mention everyone by name. You know who you are, you know how you've helped us, you are the subcontractors, and we appreciate all the assistance that you've rendered us so far. I should have actually started off with this line, but I get carried away when I get Ramadou next to me. On behalf of Roy and myself, I would like to express our sincere thanks for what it's worth to our late parents for having taught us what hard work and sincerity is. Those who know our background, which we're not going to delve into at all, and whatever the background was, and we're getting somewhere, it's because of perseverance and literal hard work that we experienced in the early days with our parents that has made us go from strength to strength. And it is them that I really acknowledge first and foremost. Of course, We've got to thank our wives and our immediate families for the support, for wives that have husbands in business, and wives that have husbands who have to work long hours, understand they are supportive. It's very important to acknowledge our wives and our family, and Roy and I in particular have been very fortunate, and we must thank them. A little special thanks onto the money market, Andrew Lebitsa and his team from NBS. Thanks, Drew, for everything. I know I've given you a few gray hairs, but that's the way it goes, and thank you for that. Melvin also. I don't think it's a nice opportunity to get into banking and point fingers. But when I say red tape and bureaucracy, we've experienced a lot. With the banking fraternity, it didn't go down very well with many of the banks. I think it takes a special breed of bankers and investors to know, to catch on, to say, hang on, I think if I put my money here, I've put it in the right place and it's going to spiral upwards. And in that we've had Andrew, and the other gentleman I'd like to make special mention is Dina Govender of Standard Bank has been of tremendous assistance to us. Dina, thank you very much for everything. In business circles, you have friends, you have business associates, and I think Roy and I have been very blessed, even if I say so myself, in acquiring friends along the road in life that help you, that assist you, and that believe in you. And one that stands out so much, so high that really, I mean, you strain your neck to look. Somebody that really believes and encourages that at the end of the day, your friends become your family, and then everybody calls everybody brother. And what's one such outstanding gentleman is Naren Patandin. And I would like to take this opportunity of thanking Naren and his family for all the assistance. Word cannot express sufficiently what I would like to say. I'd like to say a lot more, but I don't think Naren would like that too much. But I would just like to say that he means a lot to me. The Patandin family is now almost the same as a Ramkisoon family in the sense of the relationship that we have. And besides Naren, his dad, his brothers and sisters, sister-in-laws, we enjoy such an excellent relationship that I thought it's an ideal opportunity to say thank you for everything. You all mean a lot to us. And if I may be so bold as to say that if it wasn't for Naren and the family, this particular venture would not have come to fruition as quickly as it did, and I'm very, very appreciative of all they've done for me. Thank you. Whilst we on the thank you, Uncle Timol will be catering for us very shortly. Uncle Timol and his team, really, they go out of the way to help and assist, and for whatever you have for us, Uncle, thank you so much to you and your team. You really are a point where we can relax. When it comes to Uncle Timol, we don't have to worry. And recently friends are asking what else can we do to assist. And normally in our functions we get all involved in cooking and doing all of this, but when Uncle Timol is around, we relax, he doesn't. Thank you so much, Uncle Timol. We've decided, we means Segi, Roy and I decided to excuse Muthu for being here half an hour late. He's going to make up. Once Muthu gets you rocking, rolling, frolicking, he'll make up for that, believe you me. Muthu, we excuse you for being late. We had no choice, so I have to excuse you. All right? Those of you know Muthu, you know what he's capable of to. He's really going to get us in stitches. Those in tight dresses loosen up, because he really makes you laugh your head out. And we look forward to an evening of entertainment and fun from Muthu and the band. I'm sorry I'm saying Muthu and the band. Is that good enough, Muthu and the band? Thank you. I think that's about all. I've taken sufficient time. Finally, I would like to thank you all for responding. Enjoy the evening with us. and really we feel very good that you've taken the time to join us and be with us. It means a lot to us, really it does. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at the end of our formalities for this evening, but before I leave, I think I can be a little more critical than Annie was of the banking institutions in this country. If our government is to succeed in creating employment from small, medium and macro enterprises, then ventures such as Phoenix Galvanizing must be supported to ensure that we grow as a nation and improve our country's economy from the position we find ourselves today. For those of you who are wondering why our economy is in the doldrums, well, I can tell you that all other economies in the world are on automatic. Ours is on manual. We have concluded the business end of tonight's function. I did promise earlier that we are going to have fun as we celebrate this momentous occasion. During and after dinner, you will be entertained by one of South Africa's greatest entertainers. And by no means tonight an affirmative action appointment. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of KwaZulu-Natal's very own son, Mr. Muthu Murugan and his team.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's customary for me at every function to introduce myself. And firstly, I want to say my name is Muthu Murugan, for those of you that don't know me. And immediately you will notice that the cameraman had these bright lights on me so that you people can see who I am. I want to tell you at the very outset, I was a very fair guy by nature. It's because of surfing I'm like this today. I mean, for those of you that are light in complexion and laughing at me, I just want to tell you that my color on you would look like a beauty spot. And your color on me would look like a rash. So I'm proud to be a black man. Generally, people say I have a very big mouth. I want to tell you that the guy with the biggest mouth in the world is from a program called Shanana. So if you're taking a photograph for me, make sure it's black and white. I mean, the guy with the biggest mouth in the world is from a program called Shanana, and his name is Bowser. The only reason they discovered why Bowser's got such a big mouth is because they realized Dolly Parton was his mother. So can you believe? I want to tell you right at the outset, nothing I ever say is vulgar. Vulgarity lies in the mind of the individual and how you interpret what I say. And if I happen to say anything that's dirty, at least I've got the guts to talk about it. Can you imagine how dirty your minds must be to think about it? So you can be rest assured. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree with me that in the days of the apartheid structure, your initials were very important to be a member of parliament. For example, PW Botha, protect the whites, PW. I won't tell you what FW stands for, you work it out. Ladies and gentlemen, if one has to talk about sex in public, I mean, you must have heard about the new condom came out into South Africa. It's now called the NP. You must pull out at the right time. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely amazing. I mean, if I have to talk about sex in public, people say it's a dirty topic. Now, nothing's wrong with sex. I mean, I'm an ex-school teacher by profession. A 6-year-old child came to me and said, "Sir, how would you define sex?" I said, "Son, it's just like Mnet. You haven't got it till you get it." So who says sex is bad? I mean, sex is not bad. I mean, a standard 5-year-old child came up to me and said, "Sir, how would you define sex?" I said, "Son, it's an injection from a projection to the midsection with affection without objection." So who says sex is bad? I mean, two white guys were arguing on sex. One white guy says sex is easy, the other white guy says sex is hard. Now, you can't beat us Indians. We came to South Africa to cut grass and plant cane. Now we're smoking grass and drinking cane. Who cares? We're having a wonderful time. I mean, a white man once asked an Indian, "Why is it with you Indians when we ask you a question, you answer us with a question in turn?" The Indian guy reckon, "Who told you that?" Absolutely amazing. I mean, sex is not a bad topic. I mean, this one white guy reckons sex is easy, other white guy reckons sex is hard. And they argued for half an hour without arriving at a finality as to whether sex was easy or sex was hard. So they decided to put the affirmative action into operation and called upon Joseph the garden boy and said, "Joseph, could you tell us if sex is easy or sex is hard?" Joseph said, "Hi, Pastor, sex must be easy. If it was hard, you should ask me to do it for you." So ladies and gentlemen, who says sex is bad? Sex is not bad. Definitely not. It's all in the mind. I mean, when we talk about little children, politics, every day we hear the word politics being used. What is politics? A 6-year-old child walked up to his father and says, "Dad, could you explain the term politics to me?" He says, "Son, I'm going to explain the term politics to you in terms of home economics. You see, I have to work and ensure money comes into this house, so I am management. You see, your mother decides what to do with my money, so she is the government. You see, you have needs and desires that I have to meet, so you represent the people. You see, your baby brother was in the next room, that is the future.